All right, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Monday. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. Hope you guys had a great weekend. So this is the setup that I'm just waiting on at the moment. We'll see. It's coming really close to the target, so we're probably looking like we might end up just deleting it. Yeah, this is looking pretty dang bearish. Like I said, I would be open to some longs after these lows get taken out here. But I'd prefer that we got picked up for the shorts instead of that, to be honest with you. And as far as like the entry goes, I'm just taking the entry off of the 3-minute unicorn. I thought it looked the cleanest as I was scaling in. I started on the 15, didn't see anything. Went to the 5, little order block here, obviously 5-minute fair value gap there. Went to the 3-minute, even bigger. Obviously, you can move your entry down lower if you really wanted to, like to the lows of these candles. We don't really have to worry about it right now until we start getting back up here anyway. But the reason I moved it up here, I just wanted to be on the bodies, highest confluence, but then also temper the stop a little bit, because I wanted my stop to be, initially I wanted my stop to maybe be above like 50% of this last order block. But I just don't want that big of a stop loss. So I'm going to go with the stop loss right above the fair value gap candle, about 24 points. And that would be that, guys. We'll see, though. Looking like we're probably going to still probably sweep this. We got a 3-minute order block here that's holding and respecting price. That most likely is going to push us lower to the target. So yeah, this short right here would have been a justified scalp in my opinion, if obviously one's okay with the risk of it potentially pulling back all the way here. But this would have made sense. Obviously, pulls up into a fair value gap, changing the state of delivery once more here. The sell off doesn't come take this out, which is crazy. Pulls back up into these inefficiencies, hits the order block. That would have been a justified short. With a 36-point move to the previous weekly low. Let's see what that would have looked like as far as risk reward. I would have wanted stop above this candle. All right, so just took out the previous weekly low. It would have only been like a 1.5 R. Obviously, one could have put 2 contracts on, maybe went one off here and just let a runner go, risk free. But all right, guys, I am going to delete this sell limit. I'm going to send a little message in the Discord. All right, so we hit 1 to 1.5, obviously, with the previous weekly low being hit. And we're outside the macro, so on the 1-minute chart, I really would like to see if we can push for this. I want to see if we can get down here. So I'm going to be extra patient. Keep in mind, guys, if we do end up looking for longs, in my opinion, the draw that I'm going to want to see is the London highs. So going up to the 15-minute chart here, London highs right here lines up. We put in another equal high with it at open. This is where I'd really like to see price go if we do end up getting offered a long opportunity today. And that's where I'd look to target for TPs. And I'm being a little bit patient. One, we're just slightly outside of the time window that I'd really like. I would have ideally been more ecstatic about these longs if we'd have gotten, obviously, right when the sweep happened, like in the macro still. I would have liked to have seen price quickly go back to the upside. Here we're seeing a change in the state of delivery happen on the 1-minute chart. This is your change in the state of delivery here. If you're just going off the candle, bodies. And you got a fair value gap here, obviously. So we'll see if this holds or not. I'm not going to take it, mainly because I have a feeling that there's a decent chance that price will continue down to this 2 to 2.5 standard deviation. We'll see. If not, it's whatever. But I'm not going to take this one for right now. I would want to see a little more convincing displacement up here, and then look for maybe a second chance type of an entry if this ends up kind of turning into a market maker buy model here. Next area for longs is going to be if we get something to form in the 2 to 2.5 standard deviation. I guess it really just depends how much once we get in this area here on NQ, and potentially this area on ES. I'd kind of like to see ES not get here. I'd like it to kind of form an SMT with this as well, where like NQ hits this being the weaker one, ES doesn't. If we're gonna move higher, that is, right? Maybe we're not going to. Maybe we're just gonna keep sending it lower. We talked about being a little bit more bearish this week already, kind of overall as the week goes on. But let's see. I mean, if that is the case, guys, we're just not gonna be able to get a trade today in the AM session. Like, you're like our shorts were up here. If you weren't gonna be able to catch this off the inverses that open, this was really it so far, right? And the reason I didn't take it, for those of you guys, a couple guys hopped on late. For those reasons, the reason I didn't want to take this, even though because we're really close to target, R to R wasn't like a fantastic. It was like 1.5 R, and I just didn't know if we were gonna like get this deep retracement like we've gotten quite a few times this month so far, where price ends up creating a seek and destroy kind of AM session, especially day after bank holiday. No news today. Seems like it could have been a likely scenario. But yeah, guys, open to longs here from this area. I kind of want us to get into the macro, if I'm being totally honest, or at least allow us to get a little bit more structure forming. You know, on the 1 minute, you could argue we got a change in state of delivery already here with these bearish candles. You know, we got this BPR left open though. So I jumped up here. I like this 3 minute. This would obviously be a 3 minute change in the state of delivery here. But like, I'm okay waiting at this point. Like, I'm okay, you know, I'm okay not getting this, you know, an entry way down here. Like, because if we end up going, you know, to this breaker or even all the way to the London highs, like, there's more than enough opportunity for us to catch something. Even if we ended up catching it like here, right? Just to the breakers, 84 points. Like, we probably wouldn't even need to stretch it for this. SMT with the 2 to 2.5 as well, right? ES doesn't get there. We still got the bullish SMT at the lows with previous weekly low. And NQ does get here. But so NQ is the weaker one. First PD array that I see one could use for ES would be right here. I'm gonna include this volume imbalance as well. Would be the inverse of that. Let's see, guys. Let's see if I would love if this could line up perfect with us to be able to get a macro time frame based entry. You know, that could also bring one more shakeout as well. Tape reading purposes, though, we could start to tape read longs. You know, start to just see how these play out. This is a change of state of delivery on the 3 minute. Just tapped it, the order block. All right, so we can identify these things. Doesn't even need to put a trade on until we feel like really confident in it. But yeah, bullish CISD on the 3 minute. Also, kind of tape reading this inverse gap on ES as well. And really, your change in the state of delivery on the 5 minute chart has taken place now if you're going off the 5 minute candles here. So right here. Sometimes this is the only drawdown or drawback of waiting for a little bit extra confirmation and some more structure, a little bit higher time frames to play out. Like, and that's what's tough, right? So everyone has their own opinion. Some people hate the fucking 1 minute charts and the smaller time frame charts. But there's a lot of times where, like, if you're waiting on the higher time frame charts, you don't get a trade. There's no trade there for you to get. And a lot of times, if you don't get like these lower time frames entries, like, you might miss the trade, which is fine, right? There's always gonna be more opportunities. Really like to see us pull back here. 2 contracts long into OTE and the breaker. Like I said, I think the draw is above here, so yeah, there was definitely opportunity for entries all along here if you're aggressively using the 1 minute chart. Whether inverse gap here, CISDs, whatever you're looking at. Not really a whole lot though. Like if you're looking on the 5 minute chart. All right, guys, I'm gonna delete this buy limit for now because if we even came back down there, we probably don't even want to be in that trade. If we come back down there, this thing is rebalanced and we're going lower, in my opinion. Is wanting to more so see this become market maker buy model now. Original consolidation here. OG consolidation. And I would like to now see, if you guys know how market maker buy models work, I assume you guys do at this point, but you got original consolidation right here. You got price obviously consolidating in it, expands lower, generating buy side the whole time, right? Down to a point of interest, which for us was the 2 to 2.5 standard deviation below previous weekly low. And then that sell side of the curve, get my tool here. That sell side of the curve, and then you got some sort of a smart money reversal down here, whether it's a market structure shift with an SMT. We had SMT, we had the smart money reversal. Can be identified right here. Bing, bing. Once we shifted above there was your true market structure shift above this swing high here on the 1 minute. So true market structure shift was really not till here. And then you see this brief little tap into the fair value gap here on the 1 minute and just continued higher. But depending on the way that you want it, you could use different PD arrays for that reversal as well. Inverse gap, CISD, whatever. So smart money reversal, bang. And then what happens is all of these lows, so we on the way up, you're just targeting all these buy side levels, right? All the way to the original consolidation. And all these lows should become protected lows on the way up. So what I'd be waiting for would be for these redistributions to take place, to look for entries. Obviously, we prefer fair value gaps most of the time for our entries. And that's usually what you're looking for here, whether fair value gaps here or, like thinking the market fractally here, if that's a word, fractally, would be when price comes down to these levels and puts in a protected low. Like, we don't need to get in right at the low, if that makes sense. You could let price expand higher, use an inverse of this leg here, something like that as well. Like, there's many options for how you could attack that, if that makes sense. But if this is how it all plays out, this should lead to being buy side of the curve, as long as that draw is indeed all the way up here at these London highs. And we're looking at this point now to get positioned in one of these redistributions. And then the other thing here we could use, just see what this lines up with. But then you got, where does -4 line up? You got -4 right up here. So there you go. -4 lines up absolutely perfectly with where we would want to target equal highs here on NQ, relative equal highs. However, we did form a little bearish S&T with it, while ES is hitting a 15-minute bearish gap. So this is why, I'm not, as this thing is pulling back down, I'm not just going to willy-nilly just pick a random spot to, I'm going to long here, I'm going to long here. This thing could just sell right off. I want to let it settle, hold something, respect something, displace back up again. Okay, boom. Now I'm ready to look for a long. All right, guys. See if we get this buy model. Start activating. This is where I'm going to start looking for entries. Potentially here. We did get a little 1 minute CISD here. I don't love it though, because we did get a CISD here, and then that got wiped out. Coming back down into this. What is this? That's the 5 minute gap being retested as inverse. First 5 minute bullish gap there. Obviously you got 2 more down here. Just waiting. Haven't been confirmed, nothing yet. Looking like we probably should at least come back to this 15-minute gap on NQ. See if there's a 15-minute gap here. Little one on ES as well. Okay, so all right, it's getting mitigated on ES. So if NQ doesn't hit it, we can find comfort in knowing that ES did. Little SMT divergence with the fair value gap, I guess. Yeah, guys, if we just sell off from here and we just keep going lower, then there's no trade. Because I don't really have a clear sell target anymore. Obviously you could target the low, but I just don't like where we're delivering from off of it after taking previous weekly low. So I don't know, I just don't like it enough to trade it anymore, that direction at least. If we inverse this gap, I believe we are going higher. CISD on the 1 minute. Order block. All right, guys, getting ready to take an entry long here. Just going to do one contract. I'm going to see if we inverse this gap. And here's the bullish gap on the 1 minute. There you go. See, that might be it. But yeah, this is why we're not in yet. Just avoiding any and all subsequent manipulations that could take place. But I do believe that if we're waiting for this, if this happens, I believe this should hold, to be honest, because we've already manipulated again, hit the gap. Could get even riskier with it. I know you guys love when I talk dirty to you. One more CISD here. Put the stop down here. I think I will, guys. If we get a pullback down into this order block, I am going to take my one contract long. Okay. So there we go. I jumped in. We'll see, though, if I end up getting spanked for not waiting for the inverse. I guess my risk is only 280, so that's nice. And, yeah, I think I'll remove risk once we take out these. Yeah, obviously want to see this become protected low. So if that's not the case, then that's not the case. But yeah, CISDs on 1 minute, 2 minute. Well, all that patience just to take a stop loss is what it's looking like. All right, guys, stopped out. Speed and displacement to the downside. At least the speed and displacement happened right as soon as we got in long. I mean, quite literally the exact candle. Two, we've already started retracing much lower than I would have liked to have seen for the higher time frame market maker buy model to be holding true. So any questions before we hop off, guys, let me know. I doubt it. I feel like we covered everything pretty damn well today. And then ultimately, all these entries down here would have worked out fine. And obviously, had we taken those, we'd be pretty green on the day. But wasn't the case. Wanted to see it become market maker buy model all the way up to the London highs and just wasn't ready for it. So yeah, I'm down 280 on the day. All good. That's about 284 to be exact. So what is that? 0.5% is 750. So that is a third of that. So I'm down a third of a 0.5%. So a sixth of 1%. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on all this and see what we get after lunch. All right. Enjoy your day, guys. I will talk to you guys in the Discord later, and I'll see you guys on the session tomorrow, okay? Peace out, everybody. Let's talk soon.